The Extreme Sailing Series is an 8-stop global tour for some of the fastest sailing machines on the planet.
Hey, what are you waiting for?
The racing is close, sometimes too close. And things do get heated.
Man, I couldn't hear them!
In 2012 there will be over 250 races, and everyone counts. The historic city of Istanbul provides the backdrop of Act 3 of the Extreme Sailing Series. This is the place where east meets west, the beating heart of Turkey, nestled on the shores of the Bosphorus. It's the second time the circuit has been in town, and anticipation is high. Over the next 4 days, 8 teams will go head-to-head. They will race their high-performance 40-foot catamarans at top speed, right on the edge of control. All this within inches of each other and just meters from the shore.
For me, it's definitely one of the top classes or top circuits in the world right now.
The lineup of CVs on this tour is impressive. The skippers lead a fleet composed of sailors with 25 Olympic campaigns and 46 world titles between them. Leading after 2 acts, the Wave Muscat from Oman. British skipper Lee McMillan has Olympic pedigree. He's won this tour before. He can be fiery, but usually channels his aggression into speed.
Hey, come on, Pinder! That's ridiculous! That's absolutely ridiculous!
Second are tour favourites from France, with Edmond de Rothschild led by Pierre Pennet. He's been runners-up for the last 2 years. They're here with 1 goal. Pretty obvious what they're aiming for. The Austrian Red Bull sailing team, led by double Olympic gold medalist Roman Agara, are in 3rd overall. They have never made the tour podium. This could be their year. Leading the rest of the field, Oman Air, led by their brand new skipper, American Morgan Larson. They won the first event and are out to prove that that is not a one-off. British team JAC Pindar were rookies last year, but they have made fast progress. Skipper Ian Williams, a multiple match racing world champion.
Our goal really is to have another improvement, and if we can continue to do that, I'm sure it's just a matter of time until we get on the podium.
Zulu 2012 sees the return of Eric Maris to the series after last sailing with the tour in 2009. He is the one owner-driver in the fleet. Newcomers for 2012, Jesper Hansen and Rasmus Kostner, co-skipper SAP Extreme. Not prepared to serve an apprenticeship, they are already mixing it with the big players. Swiss team Alinghi are here with not just a new skipper, offshore French sailing legend Alain Gauthier, but an entirely new crew. The tour arrives in Istanbul from acts in Oman and China. 4 more European acts still to come before the finale in Brazil. So far, Oman is dominating. Each of their 2 teams have won an act. Oman Air on home waters.
Well, Act 1 was in Muscat, and the Oman Air team had a great event. We probably had a little beginner's luck, and now we're in a 3-way battle for 2nd.
As for the Wave Muscat, well, they blew the competition away in China.
I'd like to kind of continue the form here in Turkey. It's been a real battle all the way through, and I guess people are going to be hunting for us a little bit more. They don't want us to get away in the overall series, so I'm expecting it to be pretty challenging here.
But on this tour, no team is safe. Others are looking to stamp their mark on the series.
We had a really good finish in Qingdao, finished 2nd, and we're looking forward now in Istanbul to finish also on the podium.
We are on track, but we are not the only one to be on track. Chitana has been on the tour for 4 years now, but don't forget Oman has been here for I think 5 or 6 years, so they know the business, and it's not going to be easy.
Racing fast boats on short courses is intense, and last year here things got out of control.
going to be very tricky and very close racing.
And what's at stake? Well, the chance to win the prestigious Extreme Sailing Series trophy. The event sees a 4-day format. The first day is open water racing. The crews have a chance to prepare themselves on longer courses before the next 3 days of stadium. And for the second event running, the stars of the show were Red Bull Sailing Team. The Austrians showing their determination to win right out of the starting blocks.
The team is coming together now, and you can see it on the boat. Qingdao was really good for us already. We finished second in the last act, and now here starting again with the same performance is really good for us.
After day one on open water, the event now heads to the crowds and tiny compact courses. The main warm-up act for the event, the Neil Pride Racing Series, is also in town, entertaining the fans.
Yesterday we had a tough start. It was light air and our settings was not quite right, and the feeling, the positioning could be better. In the stadium format, you know, you really have to push hard, and there's no holding back. So we'll go out there today and give it a good show.
And for the offshore master helming Alinghi, used to races lasting months, this 15-minute stadium format is certainly testing.
Yesterday was better for us because when you don't know exactly the circus, open water is more space, more time. We know it will be difficult to finish on the podium. Maybe the top 5 will be a good target.
Although there are variations, the basic format of racing is simple. The fleet race upwind to round a mark before sailing downwind to pass through a gate. They complete 2 circuits before heading across the finish line. It's 8 points for a win and just 1 for finishing last.
Well, this is the start of race 9. That is Oman Air. And we're on board with them now. Good start for Oman Air. They are right of your picture. They've got a good start. Oh, wind a bit softer there, and Oman Air are not going to round first. It's going to be Red Bull Sailing Team, and Oman Air are struggling to get round that first mark. They're, what, 4th round? Well, they nearly got that right, and at the end really struggled to get round. And most of the teams going down the left-hand side of the course. The next mark, about 500 metres, middle right of your screen, out to sea. On board Oman Air, and Alinghi have just sailed straight into the back of them. Surely that's going to be a penalty for the Swiss team. Well, oh yes it is. Penalty turn, that's what the umpires are saying. That could push Alinghi out of contention for this race. And up ahead, some gusts coming across the race course. Group Eminent Rothschild and left to Hal. Oh, left of picture, Oman Air. Oh, did they touch Group Eminent Rothschild? Very close there. French team saying penalty, penalty. They didn't keep out the way. But I think Oman Air got away with it. That was close. Red Bull Sailing Team leading at the bottom mark. 2 marks down here. Most teams are opting for the left-hand side of the course. SAP in second. On the right-hand side, right of your picture, Oman Air have decided they're going to go a different way to the next mark. Which way will pay? Let's go on board with the Oman Air team.
You got to figure Roman's probably going to hit the ley line fat.
Roman's pointing at it. They're talking about Roman Hagara, the race leader. Well, they're going to try and come up a slightly different course, and it's paid as they turn in front of Red Bull. So from 4th to 1st, that is the upgrade on Oman Air. As they round the top mark for the first time. Morgan Larsen leads Oman Air as he completes his first lap. Short leg this. Well, it's a repeat performance of the first lap, but this time
Consolidate this pup right here.
Consolidate this pup right here, looking for dark patches on the water. This time Oman Air are making it their own. Will Howden looking back, and that's the sight he can see. Red Bull sailing team overall leaders. What a sight that is, the backdrop of the Blue Mosque, and what the sight that is for Oman Air as well as they tack. I think they're far enough ahead to have this one all as their own as they head up towards the top mark for the final time. Well, brand new skipper Morgan Larson, 4 America's Cup campaigns under his belt. But this is an important win. He's not yet in a podium place here. Remember, he won his first ever Extreme Sailing Series event. But this is now the formality, the 70 metres to the finish. Well, the Wave Muscat may have been getting the glory for Oman, but perhaps today will be different. Larson and Oman Air are coming across the finish line to win this race. In second place, Red Bull Sailing Team.
A great performance by Larson and his crew, who finished the day in third. The stars of the show were their teammates on the Wave Muscat. The leapfrog Red Bull Sailing Team are just 1 point. Here in Istanbul, it's Act 3 of the Extreme Sailing Series. New to the tour but making a big impact is SAP Extreme Sailing Team. Tactician Rasmus Kostner and Helm Jesgram Hansen share skipper duties aboard. This is a team that know where they're going.
I don't know where we are. Do you know where we are?
I know.
I started sailing in a city called Aalborg when I was a kid, starting as sailing optimist, and then I moved to another city on Fyn, and then I met Rasmus.
You're one of the big guys sailing. My parents, they like sailing and cruising and just club racing, and that mainly started the interest for sailing, and then optimist and other dinghies and keelboats, and especially the match racing, and that was where Jes and I, we joined up, and finally we found ourselves in the top of the scoreboard in the World Match Racing Tour.
It's really good fun to sail the Extreme 40, and I think the circuit is very well organized. We always like the close sailing.
We're not afraid of any of the other teams, and we beat them in other classes, so it's not like we feel like we not belong there, we're not a part of the competition. We're here to win.
Today and yesterday we had great racing. It's a beautiful place to sail, spectacular, with looking up over the buildings, all the historical places in Istanbul.
Tomorrow we'll have the Bosphorus race early in the morning, and a bit of distance race, so longer courses. And we're expecting quite a lot of current as well when we're passing the bridges, so that'll be a lot different to what we experienced today. We're on for the challenge and see how we go.
With 2 days left in the competition, the crews have a night to prepare for a spectacular opportunity. Exclusive permission to race on the mighty Bosphorus has been granted, and the waterway close to shipping for 2 hours.
We probably play on the shore. It'll be interesting. Nobody really knows where the shallow spots are, and it's new to everybody, so I think it's going to be a pretty fun race. Racing is rarely hazard-free, and an incident during the Bosphorus race has left a question mark hanging over one team's ability to continue.
On the start we had a collision with GS Binder. Yeah, it was a pretty hard one with a big hole on the side, and tried to repair it now for the afternoon racing, and then we are on again.
With Red Bull poised for their best result ever, a cruel turn of events could see this golden opportunity snatched away. Can their temporary repairs survive the day?
Well, there they are, left to picture Red Bull Sailing Team. And that is the 1 minute gun to the start of this next race. Can Red Bull bounce back? Remember, they've got a hole in their boat, temporary repair. They wanted to get it out of the water, but Just no time if they're going to compete this afternoon. They are the series leaders at the moment. Just right of picture, that is one end of the start line. Just off the left-hand side of your picture is the other end of the line. And now it's all about getting the timing right. Crossing the line, maximum speed, looking ahead now on board Red Bull. And finding a gap. If you're in the second row at the start, often you can't get back in the race. Races are only, what, 9-10 minutes long. Left of picture, Red Bull sailing team. SAP squeezing them up. Well, they're way up on the left-hand side, Red Bull. I think they like it there. All the boats close to line. If they're over when the gun goes, they have to go back. That's the start. Oh, and I'm hearing from race control that 3 boats jumped the gun. Dark blue sails, Group Evan and Rothschild, they're heading back. The Wave Muscat, two-tone blue on the far side of the track are heading back, but with the Jenica up, Red Bull sailing team knew exactly where they wanted to start, and they're tearing in towards the top mark, leading the fleet. On the other side, flying a hull, Oman Air have got good breeze there, and it's these 2 boats that are going to arrive at the top mark, first and second. Red Bull Sailing are going to carry on. Well, they're heading over to the right-hand side of the course. Oman Air leading the fleet to the left-hand side. But which side is going to pay when they meet? Well, first a break from the left-hand side, coming across to the mark is Oman Air. Red Bull are coming from the other side. Oh, and it's going to be close. Oman Air go ahead of Alinghi, and Red Bull and Oman Air, there's nothing in it. I'd say advantage to Red Bull perhaps as they round the mark. 2 marks there, you can go around either at the bottom of the racetrack. Well, Red Bull slowed a little bit. Right of picture, left of picture, we've got Oman Air.
They're still going. We're going to get that
Red Bull
lefty
now.
down the middle of the track. Left-handed, mate.
Talking about going down the middle of the track, deciding when to tack. Well, they've headed off to the other side of the course.
Pressure here, do we go back on that? Yep.
Shall we go back on that? Pressure here, they've seen wind.
Pressure out the
Shall
track.
we go back?
Right up
So
to
they
2.
decide to tack.
1. Right up.
Let's stay on one side of the boat until the last possible minute. Right. Has the move worked? These are the boats that went up the other side of the racetrack. Here come Red Bull Sailing, right of picture, and they are going to pass in front of everyone. Great move by the Austrian team. Flying a hull, they go in front of Oman Air and tack between Oman Air and the next mark. Good sailing. Well, Oman Air to their right, and they're behind them. To your left, SAP, the Danish team. Yes, Graham Hampson. And Red Bull round the top mark, begin their second lap. Jenica out. Jenica's not coming out. Well, about to turbocharge their performance. Jenica goes away, and Oman sail behind. Unfurls their Jenica. They're on the chase. Surprising that the Austrian team, they've got it out now. Jenica out on the Austrian team. Lead of around about 50 metres. Well, they've had a difficult day. Remember, this boat has got a hole in it. Patched up. Roman Agara, the double Olympic gold Austrian, looks behind and he's deciding whether to carry on at the mark like these boats here. He's heading down the right-hand side. Oh no, he's jibed right in front of Alinghi. Well, that was just a simple mistake for a team with 2 double Olympic gold medalists on. They will be annoyed with themselves for that. On the other side of the racecourse, SAP and Oman Air are in good pressure, good breeze, and heading down towards the bottom mark. And they're no longer chasing Red Bull Sailing. Their Red Bull Sailing are coming in now, middle of your screen, but that mistake has cost them. Oman Air round the bottom mark, leaving their Jenica out a little late. And on the left side of the racetrack, 3 boats, Oman Air amongst them. This is the final lap. So they head up towards the top mark. Well, SAP leading this race now. 1 more mark and they'll have finished. Great race for them. Bad race for this team. Red Bull Sailing team were leading until that mistake. And now they're outside the top 3, 5th or 6th. I think they're going to finish as a Danish team, SAP. Round the top mark. Well, they're just getting better and better. They call them the apprentices. They're not going to be calling them that for much longer. Well, it will be a race win for them, but look back in the fleet and Red Bull Sailing are buried, punching the air on board. Well, in second place, it's Oman Air. But the story of this race has been Red Bull Sailing. They led, they looked comfortable, they made a mistake, they've been punished. 7th for Red Bull Sailing team.
A poor race, but Red Bull not only survive one of the toughest days of the series, they finish 1 point ahead of the Wave Muscat.
We are now the 3rd year on the tour, and definitely we want to win a race, act, and this is a good chance here. We like the place, and we have to push it really hard tomorrow, and we're going for that.
Very tough day for us, and it's, you know, the margins are extremely small. We're not too worried about that tomorrow. Quite often we come back strong after a frustrating day.
So the head-to-head between Red Bull and the Wave Muscat continues. But if either make a mistake, Group Edmond de Rothschild and Oman Air are ready to pounce. The fight is on.
Just 1 point in it between the Wave Muscat, who are leading, that's the start, and Red Bull Sailing in second, and the Wave Muscat have got a very poor start. They're trapped, they're boxed in, and they can't find a gap to squeeze through. So pretty much last off the start line, and the boat just 1 point behind them. Red Bull Sailing is rounding the mark, and with the rest of the boats heading down the left-hand side of the track. Oh, and Lee McMillan is going out on his own. Quick glance over to the other side of the racetrack. He's going to go down the right-hand side of the racetrack. The mark about 500 metres out to sea, where those ships are. So Lee McMillan looking round, he's looking anxiously round. We're on board with him now. Okay, Sid, go for it. Jibing. Oh, what a sight that is. The rest of the fleet head down the left-hand side of the track. And here comes Lee McMillan on the Wave Muscat. The overall series leaders, the overall leaders here on the final day in Istanbul. And what a venue this has been. Oh, he's weaving his way through the fleet. It's Red Bull who are leading. The Wave Muscat that made the right-hand side pay. I think they crossed in, what, second, third. And Red Bull round the bottom mark, leading. Well, Red Bull Sailing led at the bottom mark. They've made things a little more comfortable. They've got a 50-60 metre lead. They could be back at the top of the leaderboard, but they've got the Wave Muscat chasing them. The moment there'll be nothing in it, equal points at the end of this race. Well, if anything, the Austrian team has gained a bit. Group Edmond de Rothschild, the French team, don't write them off. Oh, look! Well, the Austrian team, I've never seen that. The Jenica, the turbocharger of a sail, is in a knot. Oh, and the Wave Muscat are just sailing by like they're stopped. That's the view they've got of the Austrian team. Look at the breeze there. The Wave Muscat flying a hull, and the Austrians, Jenica in a knot. They're at a loss what to do, and look at this. They're now third, they're going to be fourth. Still the problem not solved. Well, the Wave Muscat in the lead of this race after that terrible start. They've worked their way to the front. And Red Bull Sailing, who were leading this race, are very near the back.
The Wave went on to win the race. Going into the double points finale, Red Bull Sailing could still win overall, but it all went wrong at the start line.
That's the start. Red Bull are over the line. Red Bull are over, they're forced to go back. Could that be them knocked out of second into third?
The Austrian team had led for so much of the event, but had to settle for third. A win for Group Edmond de Rothschild in the final race upgraded the French team to second overall. But the big celebrations were on board the Wave Muscat. Third in the final race, good enough to make it back-to-back event wins. Victorious in Istanbul.
The Wave Muscat! The Wave Muscat!
So victory for the Wave Muscat to secure their second win in a row. Second place for Group Edmond de Rothschild, the best result of the year so far. And for Red Bull, well, it's another podium. Disappointment for what could have been.
You have to push it, you have to go for a win, and That's what we did here. Not really what we wanted, but in the end we are happy. We are on the podium and we are looking forward for the next race.
Well, the question is how can we do better to beat the wave? That's the main question, because these guys are sailing really well and they are going to be tough to beat.
Very, very happy and just looking forward to the next event. It's getting really close, so it's just going to get tighter and tighter, more and more stressful, and we just look forward to battling with them all the way to the end.
After 3 acts, the Wave Muscat continued to lead what has become a very crowded leaderboard. And as we approach the halfway stage of the series, who will claim the overall victory is still far from decided. Next stop, Porto, and the confines of the Douro River estuary. Join us then.